Points and miles might get you flights and hotels for next to nothing, but what about all the other expenses while traveling? In today's episode, we're diving into a few ways to earn some cold, hard cash for your next trip or really for anything you want. So listen in. Hi, I'm Rhea.
And I'm Dwayne.
And we are your hosts of the Travel Party of Five podcast, where we share how we travel as a family of five around the world.
We will also share how we use points and miles to travel as affordably as possible and sometimes even completely free.
So if you're wanting to travel more with your family, but you're not sure how, we'd love for you to listen in.
So welcome to our podcast where we hope you learn a thing or two to get you closer to your next trip.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Travel Party of Five podcast. My name is Rhea. I am your host today. I will be solo. Dwayne will not be joining for this episode. And I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. We are going to be talking all things cashback today. But before I dive into that, I did want to just share something that has been on my mind recently, I think for a lot of us. I almost actually did not record an episode today because I have been feeling sad and helpless and hopeless all weekend and just kind of feeling like, the points and miles and traveling and whatever feels very trivial to me at this time. It feels like, what is the point? And there are so many more important things and issues happening in our country right now that this all feels kind of silly. However, I obviously am recording an episode, and I promise we'll get to it, but I thought I could share a few things that either I'm going to do this week or have been doing that have been helping me to feel like I am, contributing positively in a small way. And I thought I would share a few of those in case you are feeling similarly and are just not sure what to do. So number one is something we can't do right this second, but please vote. We vote in every election, and while there is not one happening currently, that is absolutely something that every single one of us can do to try to make our country a better place. In the meantime, the other thing I will be doing this week is using the 5 Calls website. It is 5 Calls, the number 5, calls.org. It is basically a way for you to easily and quickly contact your state representatives about issues that you feel strongly about. And it kind of walks you through the whole process. And again, makes it very easy and seamless for a busy, working mom like myself. I will put a link to that in the comments. I will also be donating all of our Instacart credits this month to food banks in Minnesota that I can find through the Instacart community carts donation thing. I talked about this in much more depth in a podcast at the end of December. And so if you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, go back and listen because I go into a lot more detail. But essentially, any of the Chase co-branded or Ink cards have Instacart credits. And if you don't utilize them for your own use, you can utilize them to donate food to either a local food bank or really a food bank anywhere in the country. And someone will, deliver those donations on your behalf. So it is an easy way to contribute a little bit. And then one other thing is donating. There is a website that is called standwithminnesota.com, and they have quite a few, ways that you can donate to different organizations that will go to help the people in Minnesota. And so those are a few things that we can do from afar. And if you've made it this far already, thank you for listening and appreciate that we can make this a safe place to talk about things like this on occasion. Now, let's jump into the meat of today's episode, which is all about cashback. One of the biggest misconceptions in the points and miles travel hacking world is that we like to call it free travel. And it's not free. It's just not. Is it heavily discounted? Yes. Are we getting, maybe a a higher level of experience or a more luxury experience than we would have gotten without it? Also, yes. But is it free? No, it is not. Okay, we spent $2,000 just on bullet trains in Japan. Okay, that's a lot of money. So I've got a few ideas and ways that you can earn actual cash that you can put towards the other expenses on a trip. So, food, excursions, or tour guides, or transportation, or maybe if you even just need to cover the taxes and fees because you're, doing business class and it's $500 a person or whatever, just for the taxes and fees, like whatever it is, or maybe you're in a season of life where you're not traveling right now, right? Maybe you just had a new baby, or, you've got a new job and you can't take a lot of time off. And, maybe this is just a way to earn a little bit of extra spending money, right? Maybe you want to donate it. Maybe, you just want to put it in your retirement account. I actually read an article that I think was from Travel on Points last year around how they tried to use bank account bonuses to fund a retirement account. And I thought that is a genius idea. So I basically got kind of 4 buckets of which you can earn cash back from. And so those 4 buckets are going to be one I already mentioned. Number 1 is bank account bonuses. Number 2 would be things like Rakuten or other shopping portals. Number 3 would be cashback cards. And then sort of in a 4th bucket would be like a travel or purchase eraser, which some credit cards offer. So let's jump in to bank account bonuses, because this is something that I have been talking about on this podcast for 2 years, but I just don't hear it mentioned like as often as I think it should be mentioned. Like it doesn't appear to be very mainstream unless you're like deep into the points and miles ecosystem, which I am. But otherwise, like I see a few people talk about them here and there, but it should be talked about more. So a bank account bonus is essentially similar to a credit card sign-up bonus where you would earn points for a certain amount of spend. A bank account bonus will give you cash for basically meeting whatever their requirements are. And typically there is some sort of direct deposit requirement or account funding requirement, right? So that could look like, earn $500 cash after $5,000 in direct deposits on this new account. And so the way that it works is you open the bank account, and this doesn't really affect your credit in any way. It's not going to affect you being able to get credit cards, certainly. They do use a system kind of similar to like a credit score, and it's called checks systems. But it's not going to be a hard pull on your credit or anything like that. So you apply for the bank account. Most times I'll say that you're generally approved, and then you just have to read the fine print to understand what the requirements are and make sure that you are going to be able to hit them. Sometimes there are really high direct deposit requirements, in which case, probably not worth it. But like, I don't know, if it's $5,000 or $10,000 over the course of 3 months, I feel like that's generally feasible for most people. The best resource to find out what current bank account bonuses are available is going to be Doctor of Credit. So go to Google, type in Doctor of Credit bank account bonuses, and you're going to get a very long list. And the list will be broken down into like checking accounts, savings accounts, and then business accounts. The business accounts almost always have a very high direct deposit requirement or funding requirement in order to get the bonus, but the bonuses are also generally higher. So, that's going to be up to you and your comfort level. I generally stick to the checking or the savings accounts. And then Doctor of Credit is also going to tell you, like, if it says, okay, $5,000 in direct deposits, it will tell you if an ACH push will work in lieu of a direct deposit. So if you either don't have a direct deposit that you can easily move around, or you just don't have one at all, sometimes you can push money from another account where it currently lives into the new account, and that will trigger the requirement of the direct deposit. And Doctor of Credit will kind of crowdsource this, and people will report back, okay, I did the SoFi bonus and, I pushed a deposit from whatever XYZ bank into SoFi and it did work for the bonus or it did not. And you'll be able to look through like the comments basically and read, okay, a push from Chase seemed to work, but a push from Bank of America did not. That's just an example. That's completely not true. So I'm just giving you an example. And if you're not sure what a push is, so there's push and pull. Okay. So a pull would be if I go into my bank account and I tell my, let's just say my Chase bank account that I want to take money from my Capital One account, my Capital One checking account. Okay. So then I'm in my Chase account and I like basically set up a transfer and I'm pulling that money from Capital One into my Chase account. Okay. A push is where, again, I'm in my Chase account, and let's say I want to push to a Bank of America checking account. So again, I'm in my Chase account, and I am going to say I want to send this money to Bank of America, and I'm going to do it from my Chase account. Okay. A pull would be going into Bank of America and saying, I want to take this money from Chase. So hopefully that makes sense, push or pull. But for a direct deposit requirement, you're going to always want to do a push. Right? So if I open up a new Bank of America account and I'm going to send the money from my Chase account, I'm going to go into my Chase account and I'm going to set up a transfer into a new bank, right? Add the account info, and then I'm going to send the money from Chase. I'm going to push it from Chase to Bank of America. And then, hopefully that will trigger the bonus. And so Doctor of Credit it's a fantastic resource. It is free. They probably get some sort of a commission if you sign up for an account using their link, I'm sure. But it's a fantastic resource and I use it all the time. I do have a goal of doing quite a few bank account bonuses in 2026. Last year, we only did a few and I think we earned maybe around $1,000. So not a ton. I do plan to ramp that up this year. A few other things to keep in mind for bank account bonuses is you generally need to allow a solid 90 days before you'll have the cash on hand to utilize. So really anything that I'm going to do this year is going to I'll have that cash on hand for trips later this year or maybe even next year. And so keep that in mind. It's not quick or instant by any means. And then obviously once you have earned the bonus, you'll want to just review if there were any requirements on how long the account had to be open. Sometimes they have early termination fees. So if you open an account today and you get the bonus and then you close it in March, if they have a 6-month window where you need to keep it open, you're going to be charged an early termination fee. So just read all the fine print. It's all spelled out for you on Doctor of Credit. You really can't miss it. And I just keep a little spreadsheet where I just keep track of, the account I opened. Who did I open it for? I'll come back to that in a second. What was the bonus? Did I meet the direct deposit requirements? Did I earn the bonus? And then did I close the account? And if there's a date, then I'll put I have to wait until April 15th and then I can close it or whatever it may be. So the other thing is that if you have a player 2 in your household, you can do this for both of you. Doctor of Credit will also tell you if there is a household limit. So if there is a household limit, then only one of you can get the account at one time and therefore the bonus. But if there is no household limit, then technically you could both earn the bonus on that bank account bonus. So you could easily earn several $1,000s a year just by doing bank account bonuses and nothing else. You just need to be organized about it and, kind of continually moving money around is how I look at it. Unless you have the direct deposit and it's easy for you to update, then by all means, just do that and, don't even worry about the push or the pull thing. So bank account bonuses, I think, are number one. That is, if I wanted to earn a lot of cash for a trip, that is where I would start. I generally like them to be $300, but I will do them for $200 if the requirements are low and or are not a lot. The other thing to keep in mind is sometimes they do have the minimum account balance has to be above a certain amount for a certain amount of time. And so you just have to think that through as well of like, okay, well, if this $5,000 needs to sit here for like 60 days or 30 days or whatever it may be, like just make sure that that's not going to get you into any trouble, right? Make sure that you have the funds to make that happen. And yeah, I think bank account bonuses are a phenomenal way to earn some cash to pay for all these kids and all their expenses on a trip. Another way to kind of accelerate the bank account bonus is occasionally there will be shopping portals like Rakuten that also offer you a bonus in addition to the bonus you would get from the bank. So right now, if you haven't done the SoFi banking, that is $250 cash back on Rakuten, right? Plus the bonus you would get from the SoFi bank. Dwayne and I have already done this. We did this either last year or the year before, I can't remember. And they're actually both still open. So cannot do that again. But there is another one that we have not done yet that we will likely do, and that is through Chime. And so Chime is basically another like banking app, and you can open up an account and earn right now on my Rakuten, it's $250 cash back. And so stacking the bank account bonuses with a cashback portal is another great way to basically boost your earnings. Cashback portals are my second bucket. Okay. So those are going to be things like Rakuten, Capital One Shopping, TopCashback. I don't know. There's a bunch of others. Cashbackmonitor.com is actually a great site to look at different cashback sites and choose which one has the highest offer if you're buying something specific. So definitely check that out. All cashback portals are a little bit different in the way that they work, and this is certainly not going to be an exhaustive list by any means. I'm just going to talk about a few of the more popular ones. But Capital One Shopping, for example, which is different than Capital One Offers. As a side note, Capital One Offers is when you're logged into your Capital One account, and those earn Capital One points. But separate from that, there is Capital One Shopping, which is a cashback portal. That one specifically earns cashback via gift cards. So that one I think is maybe a little harder to use, but I guess, if you probably could find like Walmart or something on there and utilize that as a gift card, you could, use that for groceries and then kind of take your grocery money and put that towards your vacation budget that week or that month or whatever. Another one is obviously going to be TopCashback. That's one I actually haven't used myself, but I do see that sometimes they have kind of elevated offers depending on what you're buying. And then obviously the most popular one that we all know and love is Rakuten. And yes, Rakuten earns points, and that's how we choose to earn our cash back. But I think that sometimes we can forget that with Rakuten, you can literally just earn cash, and they will mail you a check every quarter. And some of these, like $250 cash back, that's a big amount. Now, again, it's similar to the bank account bonuses. It's not instant cash. You do have to plan ahead, and you have to wait until you are until the quarter is over, right? And then they'll mail you the check. So I just went into my Rakuten account and checked, and my cash back for this quarter alone is $251.99. That is just the confirmed amount. I have another $153 pending, and my lifetime cash back since July of 2023 is $2,785.58. So that is quite a nice chunk. Now, of course, I've been earning it in points the majority of this time. First Amex points, and now I've transferred over to Built points, at least through the May payout. But I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, certainly. That would pay for a couple of days of food on a trip for all 5 of us. So again, just don't sleep on the cashback portal options. The last of the 3 main cashback buckets that I think of are cards that earn cashback. So like credit cards that earn cashback instead of points. These are not talked about very often in the points and miles world because, well, I think primarily because there are typically not affiliate links for these cards. And a lot of points and miles creators, the way that they make the bulk of their money doing this as like a job, because it is a job, is through credit card affiliate links, which means they promote a credit card, you sign up for the card using their affiliate link, and then they earn money for you doing that, kind of like a referral fee almost. And there are, some cards just don't have affiliate links, and that's fine. But I do think that's why cashback cards are not talked about as often. We do not have affiliate links for any credit cards ever. And so as much as that sucks, because I would love the income from that, you have to be able to meet certain thresholds in terms of volume in order to get affiliate links is how I understand it anyways. But it also comes with a ton of restrictions. I'm sure you guys have seen people on, creators online talking about their favorite bank, but they can't say the name of the bank. And I don't know, it all feels very weird. I don't know why the banks have the rules they do, but we don't have any of those links. So we're not incentivized one way or another, for you to sign up for one card versus another. Sometimes we do put our referral links, which means we would earn some points for you signing up. But at this point, I feel like most of our listeners already have a lot of the cards that we could earn points on for referrals. And so it's not a huge point generator for us either. But I digress. So back to the cashback cards. I think that's the main reason these are not talked about a lot, but there are some really good cashback cards. If you are just maybe in a season of life where you don't really care about the points, or maybe you have a lot of points and you're just not in a place to use them right now, or whatever the case may be. Everybody has a different situation, but if cashback is your main focus, then there are some potentially really good cards out there. Or if you're just looking to offset some of your trip costs, then this can be a great way to do that as well. So similarly to the shopping portals, this will not be an exhaustive list of cashback cards because there are a lot of them, but I do have a few that I think are talked about more often than others because they have good offers. So the first one is going to be actually the Chase Ink Premier business card. Now, this is a card that we often say you should not apply for because it doesn't earn points, and the cashback cannot be converted into Chase Ultimate Rewards points. However, if you can get the card and meet the minimum spend, then the cashback is $1,000, and that can go a very long way towards, a kind of like a vacation budget, right? And so the Chase Ink Premier business card. It is a business card, so it does not count towards your 524 status. The minimum spend for the Ink Business Premier card is $10,000. So you do have to be able to meet that in the first 90 days. But again, the cashback is $1,000, and this card earns 2% cashback on all purchases. And it's unlimited. So really, when you're spending $10,000, you're going to earn the $1,000 cashback, but you're also going to earn another $200 cashback on your spend, right? Because the card earns 2% cashback. So really it's $1,200 cashback. And without taking a 524 spot, I think that's a really, really great card to get. If we, for some reason, have a referral link for this, I will link it in the show notes. I don't really know how that works because neither one of us have this card, but I'm not opposed to it. I absolutely think that there's a place for this card. Another card that I hear people talk about a lot is the Venmo card. This is a personal card, however, and I believe it currently earns 3% cash back. I do think that Costco is, they count Costco as grocery on that card. So I guess if you spend a lot at Costco, that could be an option. But again, it is a personal card, so it will take up a 524 spot. The other one that I wanted to highlight, though, is the U.S. Bank Triple Cash Rewards card. This is a business rewards credit card, and I believe that the sign-up bonus right now is $500. I have seen it be higher. So I believe at one point it was $750. That would be phenomenal. But even $500 is not too terrible. There's no annual fee, and this one gives you cash back in certain categories, gas, office supply stores, and restaurants. It earns 3% cash back, 1% on all other eligible purchases. But again, no annual fee on this card either. And I think a 0% APR for the first 12 months. So again, like if you had a big, purchase coming up and needed to float it for a little bit while you have time to pay it off or whatever. This is another really popular card that again is a business card. It's US Bank, so it's a different bank than most other credit cards. It's not like a Chase or a Amex. And so I think that the US Bank Triple Cash Rewards Visa Business Credit Card could also be a really great option if you're looking to bulk up your cash back. To earn the $500 cash back on this card, you have to make purchases totaling $4,500 or more in the first 150 days from account opening. So that's 5 months actually. So that is even easier. I want to give a quick mention to 2 other cashback cards that I think could be really great depending on where you spend the bulk of your money. So number 1 is going to be the Capital One Savor Cash Rewards credit card. This earns an unlimited 3% cashback on dining, entertainment, streaming, and grocery, which is huge. So if you have a big grocery spend every month or every year, that could be a really good option. And if you pair it with a Venture or Venture X card, you can convert the cash back into Capital One points. But again, you don't have to. You can just keep it as straight cash back. The other one is an Amex card. It is the Blue Cash Preferred from American Express, and this one earns 6% cash back at U.S. supermarkets up to $6,000 per year, 6% on streaming, and 3% on gas. So both of those, I think, for a family, those are definitely some of our higher spend categories. So those could be great options as well. Now, of course, there are ways to convert your points into cash back, and we're not going to dive into that today, but it is an option, especially if you are just wanting to erase a few travel purchases, like with your Capital One card, for example. That can also be a phenomenal way to, bring your trip cost closer to zero. Maybe you need to do a rental car, right? All it needs to do is code as travel. You pay for it with your Capital One card, and then you can go back and erase either all or part of the purchase with your points. You're getting a 1 cent per point value. So again, it's not going to be outsized value, but if your goal is as close to zero as possible, then absolutely, this is a very valid option that you should absolutely consider. Do not let anyone else tell you how you should spend your points, okay? And then if you're using cashback cards, think of things that you can pay for that you're going to get reimbursed for. So think a little bit outside of the box. I was talking with a friend about this episode, and so I want to give credit where credit is due. She works at a school, and she had some really fantastic ideas for just ways that you can kind of increase your spend a little bit without actually spending any of your own money. So things like volunteering with your school's PTO organization, offering to arrange the staff appreciation lunches, or volunteering to do shopping for a school event, a school party, teacher gifts, whatever, and then put that on your card and then let the PTO or the school or your job or whatever reimburse you for that money. All last week, I was out of town for a work event, and we do this event every year. It's always in January. And this year, we happen to be staying at an Omni hotel. And we don't get to choose the hotel, obviously. There's an event rate and we pay it on our card and then we submit it as an expense. But the Amex cards, or some of them, had an offer for Omni hotels where if you spend $500 or more at an Omni hotel or resort, then you get $100 back. And I had this offer on multiple cards, and my bill for the hotel was over $1,000. So I made sure to add those offers to my account. I asked at checkout to split the bill between 2 Amex cards. And it's only been a few days, and I've already gotten notice that I will be getting my 2 $100 credits for that spend. And I'm going to submit the full amount for reimbursement, just like everybody else I work with. So there we have it, folks. 3.5 buckets of different ways you can earn cash back. We've got bank account bonuses. We've got shopping portals, sometimes shopping portals to get a bank account bonus. And then we've got cashback cards, which none of these things are talked about, I think, in my opinion, enough. But when you're traveling with a family, especially 4, 5, 6 people, all the other expenses add up tremendously. So hopefully this episode has been helpful. I think that if you can combine some points earning cards with some cashback cards every year, and bank account bonuses, of course, and shopping portals, that I think you could easily offset a significant amount of your travel expenses outside of flights and hotels utilizing these cashback options. And you could easily, I think, get, a couple vacations each year, which is what I think the average family takes anyways. And so hopefully this episode was helpful. I will put links to anything that I talked about in the comments, including maybe a Chase Inc. Premier referral link if I can find one. And I am now going to go sign up for that Chime bank account bonus. Thank you and see you on the next one. Bye.